Look, I was standing in the cereal aisle at Target last Tuesday, and I watched this woman put a box of Cheerios in her cart, then take it out, then put it back in. And I realized she was doing the mental math. $12 for a box of cereal. And here's the thing, that moment of hesitation, that's not just about cereal. That's about the fact that the average American family is now spending $1,200 more per year on groceries than they were just 3 years ago, according to the USDA Economic Research Service. And most of us have absolutely no strategy for fighting back. My name is John, and I spend way too much time thinking about grocery store psychology and how supermarkets are literally engineered to extract maximum dollars from your wallet. If you're someone who feels like your grocery bill just keeps climbing no matter what you do, or you walk into the store for just a few things and somehow spend $175, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, I'm going to break down the actual tactical approach to grocery shopping that could save you anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 per year without eating ramen every night or clipping coupons for 4 hours on Sunday. This is about strategic thinking, not deprivation. Here's what most people don't realize. The average American family throws away between $1,500 and $2,500 worth of food every single year. That's according to research from the Natural Resources Defense Council. Let me say that again. $1,500 to $2,500 in the trash. But here's where it gets really interesting. That's not even the biggest leak in your grocery budget. The biggest leak is what I call decision fatigue spending, and the grocery stores know exactly how to exploit it. Think about this. You walk into the grocery store after work. You're tired, you're hungry, you didn't plan anything for dinner. The store is playing music at a specific tempo. Yeah, that's intentional. Studies from the Journal of Marketing Research show that slower tempo music makes people shop 29% slower and spend 30% more. The produce section hits you first with all these fresh, healthy, beautiful vegetables that make you feel virtuous. You fill your cart with good intentions. Then you get to aisle 7, you're overwhelmed, you're starving, and suddenly that pre-made rotisserie chicken, those gourmet crackers, that fancy cheese, the ready-made salad kit that costs $8.99, it all goes in the cart. And you've just spent $47 on what could have been a $12 meal if you'd planned ahead. Now you might be thinking, John, but I don't have time to plan ahead. That's the whole problem. I get it, but here's the thing. You're spending time either way. You're either spending 20 minutes on Sunday planning your week, or you're spending 20 minutes every single night staring into your refrigerator trying to figure out what to make, then ordering DoorDash because you can't decide. Look, the fundamental shift you need to make is this. Stop treating grocery shopping like an errand and start treating it like a negotiation with yourself. Because that's what it actually is. Every time you go to the store unprepared, you're negotiating with a tired, hungry, decision-fatigued version of yourself. And that version of you, that person makes terrible financial decisions. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say you're a family of 4, and right now you're spending about $1,000 a month on groceries and eating out when you inevitably don't have food planned. That's $12,000 a year. According to the USDA food plan data from 2024, a family of 4 can eat on a moderate cost plan for about $1,200 per month, and that's with zero optimization. That includes groceries and covers all meals. But here's what's wild. With actual strategic shopping, and I'm going to show you exactly how, that same family can eat well. I'm talking nutritious, satisfying meals for about $750 to $850 per month. That's a difference of $1,800 to $3,000 per year. Now multiply that over 10 years. At even the conservative end, that's $18,000. Invested in a basic index fund averaging 8% returns, that's $27,600. For context, that's a used car. That's a down payment on a house in some markets. That's your kid's first year of college. That's not nothing. All right, so let me break down the actual system. And I want you to understand, this isn't about extreme couponing or driving to 7 different stores to save 32 cents on yogurt. This is about intelligent systems that run on autopilot once you set them up. Tactic number 1, the reverse engineering approach. Here's how most people shop. They go to the store, they buy what looks good, they come home, they figure out meals from what they bought. This is backwards and expensive. Here's what you do instead. You plan 3 to 4 anchor meals per week. Not every meal, that's overwhelming. Just 3 or 4 dinners that you know you're going to make. Each anchor meal should use at least one ingredient that overlaps with another meal. For example, anchor meal 1 is chicken tacos on Monday. You buy a pack of chicken thighs, let's say $8 for 2 pounds. Anchor meal 2 is chicken stir-fry on Wednesday. You're using the same chicken. Anchor meal 3 is a big pot of chili on Friday. You use the same onions, the same canned tomatoes you bought for the tacos. You're creating ingredient synergy. This is where it gets really interesting, because now, instead of buying ingredients for 7 completely different meals, which leads to tons of waste and variety expenses, you're buying ingredients that work across multiple meals. One person I talked to implemented just this one tactic and cut their grocery waste by 60%. That was about $45 per week in food that wasn't going in the trash. That's $2,340 per year. Tactic number 2, the unit price obsession. Okay, this one sounds obvious, but almost nobody actually does it. Every single item in the grocery store has a unit price on the label. It's usually in small print. It tells you the price per ounce, per pound, per count. You need to start reading this like it's your job, because here's what grocery stores do. They put the more expensive option at eye level, the cheaper option, bottom shelf or top shelf. Let me give you a real example from my grocery store last week. Brand name pasta sauce at eye level was $4.99 for 24 ounces. That's 21 cents per ounce. Store brand on the bottom shelf, $2.49 for 24 ounces. That's 10 cents per ounce. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a couple bucks, John. But look, if you're buying 1 jar of pasta sauce per week, that's $2.50 in savings per week. Multiply that across the 30 to 40 items the average person buys per grocery trip where these small differences exist. You're talking about $30 to $50 per trip. That's $150 to $250 per month. That's $1,800 to $2,500 per year, just from reading the bottom line of the price tag. Tactic number 3, the anchor store system. Here's the thing that changed everything for me. You need one primary store where you do 80% of your shopping, and you need to learn that store's markdown schedule. Every grocery store has a schedule for when they mark down meat, bakery items, and produce. It's usually the same day and time every week. At my local store, they mark down meat at 6 a.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays. I can get chicken breast for $2.99 per pound instead of $6.99 per pound just by showing up at the right time. You take that chicken breast, you portion it out immediately when you get home, you freeze it in meal-sized portions. Boom, you've just cut your protein costs in half. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that strategic timing of grocery purchases can reduce costs by 23% without changing what you buy at all, just when you buy it. Tactic number 4, the psychological price anchoring hack. Grocery stores use price anchoring against you. Let me show you how to flip it. When you see 10 for $10 or buy 2, get 1 free, your brain anchors to the deal. You think, oh, I should buy 10 to get the deal. But here's the secret most people don't know. In most states, you can buy just 1 at the sale price. You don't have to buy 10. The store is using a psychological trick called suggested purchase quantity to make you buy more than you need. And it works. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research shows these tactics increase purchase quantities by 32% on average. Instead, here's what you do. Only buy the quantity you'll actually use before it goes bad, even if it's less than the suggested amount, because food in the trash is money in the trash. Tactic number 5, the 24-hour rule for non-essentials. This is simple but powerful. If you see something that's not on your list, a snack, a convenience item, a treat, you don't put it in your cart immediately. You take a photo of it on your phone. 24 hours later, if you still want it and it fits your budget, you can go back and get it. But here's what actually happens. 70% of the time, you forget about it or realize you don't actually need it. The average American makes 1.6 grocery trips per week, according to the Food Marketing Institute. If you eliminate just $15 in impulse purchases per trip using this rule, that's $24 per week. That's $1,248 per year. Now look, let me talk about what's really happening here psychologically, because the tactics are important, but the mindset shift is what makes this sustainable. The grocery store is designed, and I mean architecturally, psychologically, strategically, designed to make you spend more money. The layout, the lighting, the music, the samples, the end cap displays, the checkout line candy, it's all engineered. According to research from the Marketing Science Institute, the average grocery store layout is designed to maximize what they call dwell time, the amount of time you spend in the store, because every additional minute you spend in a grocery store correlates to $2.17 in additional spending. So if you can cut your shopping time from 45 minutes to 25 minutes by having a list and sticking to it, you're saving about $43 per trip just in avoided impulse purchases. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Grocery stores rely on you being confused about prices. They want you to not know if $4.99 for a pound of strawberries is a good deal or not. So you need to develop what I call price literacy. For the 20 to 30 items you buy most frequently, you need to know the normal price. Write it down. Keep it in your phone. Then, when you see sale in big red letters, you actually know if it's a real sale or not. I started doing this 2 years ago. A sale on chicken breast at my store is often $5.99 per pound, but the regular price at Aldi is $3.49 per pound every day. The sale is more expensive than the regular price somewhere else. This is the shift from passive consumer to active strategist. Now you might be thinking, John, this sounds like a lot of work. I don't have time for all this. And I get it, but the thing is, you're spending time either way. You're either spending time planning and executing strategically, or you're spending time dealing with the consequences, the stress of not knowing what's for dinner, the money anxiety from overspending, the guilt from wasting food, the health impacts from eating out too much because you don't have groceries. One approach front-loads the effort and pays dividends. The other approach backloads the pain and compounds the costs. Let me put it this way. If you spend 30 minutes on Sunday planning your meals and making a strategic shopping list, then 45 minutes shopping once per week, that's 75 minutes per week. That's 5.4 hours per month.
If that saves you $250 per month, which is conservative based on everything I've shown you, you're essentially paying yourself $46 per hour to do this planning. That's a pretty good hourly rate. And you might also be thinking, but I like trying new foods. I like variety. This sounds boring. Look, strategic shopping doesn't mean eating the same thing every day. It means being intentional about variety instead of accidentally buying ingredients you won't use. You can plan for variety. Anchor Meal Monday is always a new recipe I've never tried. That's still strategic. You're just building exploration into the system instead of leaving it to chaos. Here's what most people don't realize about grocery shopping. It's not actually about the groceries. It's about control. When you walk into a grocery store without a plan, without knowledge, without strategy, you are giving control to the store, to your impulses, to your decision fatigue. You're letting external forces dictate your spending. When you walk in with a plan, with price literacy, with a system, you are taking control back. And that feeling of control, that extends beyond groceries. Because here's what I've noticed. People who get strategic about grocery shopping start getting strategic about other spending. They start questioning their subscriptions. They start meal prepping. They start looking at their budget with actual intention. It's like a gateway drug to financial consciousness. And the math is compelling. Let's say you implement even half of these tactics. You go from spending $1,000 per month to $850 per month. That's $1,800 in annual savings. But you also reduced food waste by 40%, saving another $800 per year based on the average waste statistics. And you eat out less because you actually have food at home, saving another $1,200 per year. That's $3,800 per year total. Over 10 years, invested at 8% average returns, that's $56,900. That's real money. That's a new car paid in cash. That's a significant chunk of retirement savings. That's financial breathing room. All right, so here's exactly what you do this week. Step 1. Track your current spending. For the next 7 days, keep every grocery receipt and write down every food purchase. You can't improve what you don't measure. This isn't about judgment, it's about data. Step 2. Go through your pantry and refrigerator. Write down what's there. This is going to inform your shopping list and prevent you from buying duplicates. Step 3. Plan 3 anchor meals for next week, just 3. They should overlap ingredients. Write down everything you need. Step 4. Check your pantry against your list. Cross off what you already have. Step 5. Go to your store. Bring your list. Bring headphones if you need to block out the store music. Shop the perimeter first. That's where the whole foods are. Avoid the middle aisles except for specific list items. Step 6. When you get home, prep immediately. Portion that meat. Wash that produce. Make it easy for future you to actually use what you bought. Do this for 4 weeks. Track your spending each week. I guarantee you'll see a decrease. Look, here's the thing about all of this. Nobody teaches us how to shop strategically. We just kind of figure it out as we go. And the grocery stores, they're banking on you never figuring it out. But you're watching this video, which means you're already ahead of 95% of people. You're thinking strategically. You're recognizing that small systems create big results. The difference between someone who spends $12,000 per year on food and someone who spends $9,000 per year on food isn't that one person eats worse, it's that one person has a system. Build your system. Start small, track your results, and remember that every dollar you don't spend on groceries is a dollar you can put toward the things that actually matter to you, whether that's debt payoff, investing, experiences, or just having less financial stress. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe because I'm breaking down tactical financial strategies like this every single week. Hit that like button if you're going to implement even one of these tactics. And let me know in the comments, what's your biggest grocery shopping challenge? What's the one thing that always blows up your budget? I read every comment, and your question might be the topic of the next video. I'm John, and I'll see you in the next one.